Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to unbox and take a first look at the Unnecessary Evil box set from Pinnacle Entertainment Group. This is designed for the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, and from what I can tell, it is absolutely jam-packed. There are a trio of hardcover books, bennies, an action deck, archetype cards, you name it, it is in here. This is available right now for an MSRP of $169.99. And of course, the various different hardcover books are also available separately. You can grab these in PDF and so on. But we're going to dive on in and take a look at the entire boxed set. Few things to mention before we jump on in. First of all, my friends over at Pinnacle Entertainment Group were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, very important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the 3 books that are in here. We're not going to look at each and every card. So keep that in mind. Also should mention, as far as I understand, all 3 of these books have adventure elements in them. There is probably also an adventure that's contained with the Game Master screen. That's pretty much par for the course that we see from Pinnacle Entertainment Group. So if you're a player and your Game Master has picked this up, or maybe they're talking about picking this up, maybe they're talking about running Necessary Evil, definitely recommend tune out now. You don't want the surprises of these adventures ruined simply because I'm paging through, even though I know nothing about them. There's going to be some spoilers, so keep that in mind. Now, if your Game Master is thinking about picking this up, let them know about the video so that way they can see exactly what's inside and make a far more informed buying decision. So let's take a look at the back here. But first, I'm going to get the shrink wrap off. This is a big box. This is a hefty box. And I've got to say, I've heard of Necessary Evil before because if I remember correctly, I think this was out for, isn't it called the Explorer Edition? The edition of Savage Worlds that was out before Adventurers Edition. I got to say, I'm not all that familiar with earlier Savage Worlds outside of, like the original Deadlands. But I know this has been out for a while as far as a setting. This is new. This box set is brand new. It is very recently available. So let's take a look at the back here. When all the superheroes of the world are blown to kingdom come by an army of invading aliens, who will save the day? The only forces left to take on the alien menace are the crafty and self-serving supervillains. This box contains 3 epic campaigns over more than 300 pages and the accessories to bring them to life. Includes Necessary Evil Invasion, Necessary Evil Breakout, and the Necessary Evil Cosmic Crisis. And then there's details, but we'll actually be taking a peek. And then it shows us what is included in this box. Strangely enough, I kind of get the vibe, if you are familiar with Eric Klein's X-Heroes series of novels, where it's superheroes fighting essentially a zombie apocalypse and not doing too well, to be very honest. This kind of gives me a vibe like that, even though it's an alien invasion and things like that. But I will be the first to point out, I love the X-Heroes series of books. All right, looks like we've got a little bit of a map, some pawns, archetype cards. We've got our action deck, which I had to say I was kind of surprised when I took a first look at the Pine Box, Texas middle school box set. There was no action deck. I was kind of surprised by that. We've got bennies, set of dice, as well as we've got our wild die. Although, strangely enough, oh no, I guess it is a particular design on those dice. The two colors are red and blue. It looked a little odd. Looked like it kind of looks like we've got different colored dice, but it is a red blue mix. That's what the dice color scheme is. So we've got that. We have our Game Master screen, which will probably include that adventure too. And then we've got our trio of books. We've got Invasion, Breakout, and Cosmic Crisis. So we're going to take a look at the books last. So the first thing we're going to do is take a peek at let's take a look at the bennies first. With these box sets, we normally get 25 bennies with 5 different images on them, as well as the setting image. So that's our necessary evil. Those are the aliens. It's like almost like a Doc Ock kind of character there. Should have one more. Where we got it? And again, maybe not. Maybe we don't. Oh, there we go. I was going to say, because it's usually 5. So we'll take a closer look at these. I'm going to get those out of the way so our autofocus doesn't have any issues there. So that is the artwork for, looks like somebody shooting eye beams. Somebody either leaping or they're flying. Here are the aliens, the alien invasion. So that's from the invasion cover. I think this is from the Breakout cover. It looked like. Villain there almost looks a little bit like Daredevil. There's the one that looked kind of like Dr. Octopus. And then finally, we've got, I think this is from the 3rd book. I think that was the cover artwork from that 3rd book. So there we go. So there are the bennies. Once again, we do have 25 of them. We've got our action deck. Let's take a look at the action deck. And as I pointed out, you can purchase all these separately if you'd like. So as an example here, the action deck is $19.99. That's what the MSRP is. We're not going to look at each and every one of these cards, but I am kind of curious because I have seen some of these where every card is different in the action deck as far as the artwork goes. And then I've seen others where it's only the face cards that actually get artwork. So I'm kind of curious. So Joker's here. So yeah, see, that's going to be the case here. So we've got the artwork on the face cards, but not on the numbered cards. Pretty cool artwork, though. I do see that these villains are drawing inspiration from comic book villains from, say, Marvel and DC. So that is the oversized action deck. That is the back of them. That's pretty cool artwork there, too. So we got the dice. Let's take a look at the dice. I'll show you these. Okay, so this is our wild die. So that's the face on our wild die. And this is the color scheme I was talking about. It's a mix, as you can see, of red and blue. kind of cool. So there are the dice. Next up, let's take a peek at the archetype cards. It's a pretty small deck. All right, come on. I was going to say it also, the shrink wrap is pretty damn tight on here. I'm having an easy time getting it off. There we go. Now we can get it. So take a look to see what are the archetypes we've got. We've got the flexor, the mystic mastermind, the zapper, the armor clad, the I swear that A looked like an R. I was like, what? It's the gadgeteer, the ground pounder. It's clobbering time. The dark vigilante, the winged menace, the shark man, the bow hunter, shapeshifter, the web spinner, the vortex, the executioner, the cosmic parasite, the galactic intelligence, a little bit of a MODOK vibe there, the star conqueror, and the unshackled machine. Something else that this reminds me a little bit of, if you are familiar with the wild card series, when the wild card series, I want to say, I think it's the third volume, which is going way back. We're talking 1990s with that. There was an alien invasion in wild cards. So that was a series I loved. In fact, all my friends and I were reading those. I turned on all my buddies. I found it at a science fiction bookstore when the first volume came out, and we were blown away by it. Some early George R. Martin editing there. All right, come on. Shrink wrap just is really tight. So these are the pawns. So we'll take a peek at the pawns here. And here we've got the key to each of them. So we've got the various different archetypes. And something I like about these pawns are we get front and back. So that's really cool. So we've got that. We've got these. We do have some dupes. Not many, though, just a few. It looks like it's some of the aliens, some of the alien forces. And of course, from the different adventures, we will have pawns as well. That tends to be the modus operandi of Pinnacle Entertainment Group, is with these box sets, we'll get pawns for the NPCs and important monsters, creatures, things like that in the adventures that are included. So there we go. Those are the 4 punch boards of pawns. This is our map of Star City. And then a map of a spaceship. So there we've got those. Let's take a look at our Game Master screen. And then what I'll also do here is save the adventure that's in this. See, there we go. Return of Dr. Destruction is our adventure. I'll save that for last. because this way, if you've been watching this and you're a player, we haven't encountered anything that's going to ruin any major surprises for you. Most of the stuff we've seen, a lot of player facing stuff or the pawns, it's like, you don't know what it is. Right. So let's see. Here is our artwork. And it looks like we've got the various different archetypes here. And probably a pretty standard landscape Game Master screen for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. Got some power stunts. All right, so we've got that. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to dive on in and start taking a peek at the books. First up, we have got Necessary Evil Invasion, which is the opening chapter of Necessary Evil. Villains rise after the heroes fall. When all the superheroes of the world are blown to kingdom come by an army of invading aliens, who will save the day? The only forces left to take on the alien menace are the crafty and self-serving supervillains. The original blockbuster campaign is back and updated for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. Four-color villains fight to save Earth from the clutches of the evil Visori invaders. You might be a bad guy, but it's still your planet these pesky aliens are tearing up. It's going to give us a breakdown of this book. Do need to have the Adventure Edition of Savage Worlds, the core book, to be able to use this. Let's take a peek inside. So here is our credits page. So let's make sure we give folks credit where credit is due, because as you can see, a lot of folks took part in bringing this book to life. Got chapter 1, A Necessary Evil. In Necessary Evil, a band of aliens lured the world's superheroes into a cunning trap. I've got a cunning plan, me lord. And killed or imprisoned the vast majority of them. Player characters are the only enhanced beings left to save the planet. Supervillains. As the alien overlord's policy is to kill anyone exhibiting paranormal powers, the only option open for such individuals is fight or flight. You can guess which option most villains choose. We are going to get information about creating our villains, get a Game Master section. In fact, the vast majority of this is devoted to our Game Master section. I would think the new superhero companion, or what is it, superpowers companion that came out not too long ago, would probably fit in nicely with this too. So it looks like we're getting some background about the setting, Star City, areas of Star City. Here we go, making villains. So you're going to come up with a villain concept. Their heredity says characters in Necessary Evil can be Atlantean, human, hybrid, or something else. Atlanteans and hybrids are described below. Other ancestries, undead constructs, or even aliens from other worlds are also possible, but you'll create those with superpowers for literally thousands of combinations. We do have our PowerPoints, different gear. Here's our ancestries. We've got some new hindrances, new setting rules. And that's it. That is all for the player-facing information in this book. Cool. I'm seriously, I love to see, we got 100 pages of campaign info here. This is excellent. Here is A World of Evil, showing us the aliens. Got Dr. Destruction, who we already know is the subject of the adventure that came with the Game Master screen. So, of course, this is going to be a plot point campaign, as we see with most, if not all, of the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition releases. I say most, if not all, because it's not as if I've seen every single Savage Worlds Adventure Edition setting that's come out. But from the ones I have seen and I have reviewed, they always had the plot point campaign adventures. So it looks like we've got quite a few episodes here. And it looks like Atlanteans are part of this adventure. So quite a few. We're at episode 11. And then I think I was going to say, now we get Savage Tales, which these tend to be a couple of pages, sometimes 3 pages. These are short adventures that probably take up about a session, and that's about it. So we've got some of these: Vendetta, Colonel Clone's Legacy, Fire from the Sky, Robotic Doom. And it looks like that is what we're going to have the majority of. And then I'll take a guess we're going to see a bestiary in here. A Day in the Life of a Hero, The Dogs of War. Pretty solid artwork throughout. I like the artwork here. It's all very uniform. That's something that we do tend to see with Savage Worlds releases, is a pretty uniformed art style throughout the books. I do like that because, I mean, artwork's important. It's not the most important thing with role-playing game releases, but when you have really uneven artwork throughout a book, kind of throws you off a little bit. So here's our rogues gallery. So we've got our bestiary, as well as looks like we've got some important NPCs. There you go. People of Star City. Willie the Fish. The fish is an important person on the docks. Nice. Then we'll wrap up with an index. And this is 128 pages for Invasion. Next up, we're going to take a look at Breakout. Let's see. So that's the same information there. The villainous resistance of New York City was one of the last to hold out against the alien invasion. Warlord Shatarka placed Manhattan under a deadly and impassable energy shield. Now your villain has to fight for survival and dominance. This is almost like an Escape from New York sort of thing. So Necessary Evil Breakout is a 104-page book featuring an overview of the ruins of Manhattan for players and for GMs. Additional information for creating your nefarious villain and rules for surviving in the Big Apple. We also get a full plot point campaign, Savage Tales, and more. Let's take a peek inside. So once again, we've got our credits here. Take a moment to take a peek at that. Look at that, Escape from New York. One of the first chapter titles there, or section titles. All right. Get some setting rules. So obviously, you could conceivably have just one of these 3 books and run Necessary Evil, it looks like. Although it appears we've got some new information in here, but I didn't see, did we have some new hindrances or anything? I don't think so. Maybe not. So we've got the Gazetteer. And then we get into our Game Master section. So it looks like we've got 80 plus pages devoted to that. So here's our setting rules. So we've got scavenging, we've got mishaps. As far as mishaps while scavenging, or Star Conquerors. The big bads. This is a bit of a gazetteer in more depth about areas of New York. And it looks like this is our campaign, our plot point campaign. Sweet. This is looking really good. This is looking very, very interesting and pretty unique too. I mean, granted, supervillains having to save the world has been done in comic books and things like that. Don't see it a lot in role playing games. So here we've got our Savage Tales. So we've got a variety of different short adventures that would take probably about a session to complete, but it looks like we've got a good handful of these. And then we've got our bestiary with our stat blocks for important NPCs. Cool. It's our rogues gallery, I guess we'll say, not a bestiary. So there we've got that. Wrap up with our index. So that is Breakout. And then we have Cosmic Crisis. Years after the original invasion, a formidable group of cosmic criminals gets one chance to free themselves from an intergalactic prison and save their own futures. The only catch, they have to kill the omnipotent outsider first. Galactic fun and mayhem awaits. So this clocks in at 146 pages. Let's see what we have got. So it's sort of like the Guardians of the Galaxy go bad. The Omega Protocol. And we have got some character creation content here, it looks like. Yes, new hindrances, new edges, some new gear. Got our setting rules. It's like our gazetteer as well. And then looks like we are into our plot point campaign. All right, I was going to say, where's the stop reading this if you're a player? Right there. All right, so let's see what we've got. So this is a prison breakout campaign here. There's the map of the ship that we saw that we've got in the box. I know we've seen a pawn for that. It's kind of cool. So we have different crises that are taking place. So it looks as if this is pretty long. Ah, more pawns that we saw. So we know we've got 6 crises, so essentially chapters so far. Number 7. Number 8. And so it's 8 chapters as far as that plot point campaign. Then we get into our Savage Tales, which are short one-shots to jump into. It looks like we've got a bit of a focus on some sort of demonic creatures in this. I'm just kind of zipping on through here. So here is our rogues gallery. So some of the important NPCs and some of the various combatants and enemies that the players are going to take on. All right. And then we've got our index. And then last, we've got the adventure that comes with the Game Master screen. So this is a 32-page adventure. So this looks like this is actually fairly in-depth, clocking it at 32 pages. The Return of Dr. Destruction. This adventure ties back to those plot point campaigns. It acts as a bridge between the original settings and events of Necessary Evil Breakout, and Necessary Evil Cosmic Crisis. Also provides context for what happened on Earth in the intervening decade between the previous two stories. The adventure ties back to those plot point campaigns, revisiting locations and plot elements from the first two arcs and bringing back several key NPCs for the villains to interact with. Nice. Looks like we get some action in New York, probably some action in Star City again. So this will all be the adventure. There are no savage tales as part of this. So we've got 5 acts. Are we going to hit 6? Yep, there we go. Act 6. It's like player characters are heading to the moon. All right. And it's all the adventure, no rogues gallery. So it looks like everything as far as opponents that the player characters are going to face are actually going to be from the other 3 volumes. Interesting. All right. So we have got the Game Master screen as well as the adventure. We have got the trio of books. I'm not going to, well, actually, I think I can fit that in on this. Yeah, I think that's how it actually was set up, was like that. I think the Game Master screen was under that. So we've got our archetype cards. We've got our action deck. The action deck go there? Yes. Our set of dice. We've got our 25 bennies. And if you're not overly familiar with the bennies that come in the box sets, they are pretty much like poker chips. They have that same sort of heft to them. Of course, now I had one fall down. Let's see if I can get all of these in here. Come on. Ah, that's good enough for now. We got the map of Star City and that little spaceship, as well as, oh, how did that happen? Get that archetype card back in there. All right, and then we've got our pawns, and that is everything from Necessary Evil for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition as far as the box set goes. Of course, I will have a review of this in the not too distant future. Very nice. As we saw, this is absolutely packed with Necessary Evil goodness. And of course, this box set is available now. It carries an MSRP of $169.99. That's it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this unboxing and first look. Boy, this has a lot of heft. It'll also inform you when my live show, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, streams right here on YouTube, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.